G'day punters, welcome to the Sydney Review Show. It was the Everest weekend, Kosciuszko as well, plenty to get stuck into. But I'll welcome Mark Shean first of all. It was a pretty big day. What was the feeling like on course?
I was stuck upstairs with the protocols, so I only got downstairs a few times, but they had them spread quite out. So I think there was about 11 or 10,000 there. So Robin probably in the mix a bit more throughout the day. So I was stranded upstairs for most of the day. But anyway, it was a good day.
Rob, what did it feel like on course this year versus previous years gone by?
Oh, it was a dream. It was a quarter of the amount of louts. I just, sat away from everyone on the grass, and it was a good day. Saw it well early anyway.
Mark Rhoden, how'd you finish up?
Good day. Could have been sensational. I found a couple early, and I needed one or both of joviality or standout to just push me right over the top, but they couldn't quite get it done. But it was a good day anyway.
Okay, very good. We will review races 5 through 9, but we'll touch on the 2-year-olds to start with. And Captivant was the victor there. It's actually recorded the fastest last 200 split on the card. And I'm not sure whether or not I should be impressed or not with that. They've gone even in terms of the speed to the 600, 1.4 lengths slow for that class there. Mark Shean, what did you make of this runner in the first race?
Yeah, look, he trialled really well and he paraded fantastic before the race. I thought he was easily the best type in the yard. Luckily, I got on his back and I backed Testimonial as well. Unfortunately, I backed it before I looked at it. It still looked a bit porky. I thought it was a pretty good run, actually. Testimonial missed the start, and considering the improvement it still had in it, I think they're the two to follow, the winner and Testimonial out of the first. Winner, as I said, well, Rob will go on with this, I suppose, and just mention how well it looked, but certainly trial well leading into this and paraded quite well.
Rob, you've seen a few 2-year-olds so far this season. How does this winner Captivant measure up?
Oh, he sort of measures up, but the filly's way out in front. She looks like a freak for a filly, but yeah, I thought paraded really professional, good type, easy enough to go on top, collared on, made it a bet. Then I backed the last and the second last horse in the race, and so got away with one here. The number one looked well underdone for Gary Portelli and Kathy O'Hara, so that might be worth following as well.
Mark Rhoden, what are your ratings suggesting out of the 2-year-old race?
Yeah, he's pretty good, this winner. I actually agree with Rob. I think that Enthar is probably the best of the handful of races we've seen so far. But this isn't too far behind on figures, and it's a pretty good figure to be running in spring for a 2-year-old too. That last section, I think you can take at face value. It was pulling away from them in the last 50 to 100 metres. Very promising.
Okay, very good. Well, we'll jump a few races and we'll go straight to the Kosciuszko. Obviously, there's news around this morning of It's Me injuring a tendon during the run there on Saturday, and obviously be out for the rest of the spring. But in terms of the race, they've gone even again, 2 lengths fast for the class to the 600, and wasn't exactly the greatest passage of all time in run for the horse, but still managed to get the job done. Obviously, a very promising type, and unlikely we get to see the best of her going forward. Mark Shean, It's Me. We had a question relating to if this horse could challenge for, say, an Everest next year. Did you have any thoughts on that before the obvious injury?
Well, look, she'd been running outstanding sectional times, hadn't she? She'd been running faster than the group horses on the same day, which is pretty rare in those highway races. It was pretty rare even for benchmark races to run faster than the group races. So she certainly has the potential to go on, and don't know how severe this injury is. So, she might be off the scene for some time. She might never recapture what she's done so far. So it's a lot of question marks hanging around at the moment. And we'll see Classique legend drift away overseas to Hong Kong. So there might be a changing of the guard. So still a long way off to find out what happens with It's Me.
Yep. Anything else out of the Kosciuszko for yourself?
Look, there were some good runs in the race. I think those that were on speed did a little bit too much work. Man of Peace, Too Big Fari, and also Handle the Truth had a very tough run. So it did enable It's Me to get home with that fast tempo up front. But I thought Man of Peace was pretty gallant. Redouble had a spec on it at big odds. Poked his head in front there for a stride or two, just run down by the winner. But as I said, I think those on speed there did a lot of work in the run and certainly can be followed at the next couple of starts.
Rob, the whole lead up for the race was based around It's Me having to obviously be scoped on the Thursday or the Friday. How did It's Me parade there on Saturday?
Really well, really professional. Looked like a sort of a weight for age kind of horse against some, quality Saturday types like Man of Peace. He really stood out again. He's been one of ours for a long time. I had him pegged as just a wet tracker, but maybe a bit like Trumbull in a later race. He's turning into a great old horse. Handled the Truth couldn't have been better. Come on beautifully from its other runs, but after that it sort of falls away pretty quickly in this race. So she was a great bet. I thought the ride was fantastic, and she didn't seem quite right to me. She didn't show the same dazzle, amazing acceleration that she's shown in the previous races. So it was great to get her home for the subscribers and for Dicko. He's got something going into the Derby, which is pretty exciting.
Everything crossed for young Werther there. Mark Rhoden, It's Me. The price going into the race, it almost, I guess there was a bit of a drift, so to speak, on the Thursday, Friday, but there really wasn't anything going into the last half hour. The cash certainly came for it late.
Certainly did, yeah. I ended up level staking it and Handle the Truth, which I mentioned in the previous show was the one I thought was the value in the race. He had a bit of a wide trip. Don't think he would have won though, but yeah, and I was thinking mid-morning this might get to, well over 6-4 or something, but the big players obviously took its form at face value and really did crunch it into what looked like a price on form. I think it's actually rated down for one reason and another about a length and a half on its absolute top so far. I thought it got into a pretty awkward spot, and she got really unbalanced when he got it off heels. He did that really abruptly, and she seemed to be off balance for a good 30 or 40 metres, I think. And so I think she'd just been cost a length or so from going to a complete top. I think Redouble's gone to his absolute best. That's a great training effort from Mitch Beer, first up for him. Did have a nice run, but he's gone right to his top. And yeah, some good on-pace runs too. Big Fari, I thought would be better suited at 1400, and there he is right up on the speed in a very fast run 1200 and still boxing on quite well. And yeah, agree about Man of Peace. Maybe not just a wet tracker. Really thought might have been, but just a real shame. We're not going to see the best of this horse. Not going to be seen until next spring at the earliest. So that's going to make it hard to come back and fulfil her potential.
Yep, absolutely. All right, race 6 on the card, the Sydney Stakes over 1200, Group 3. And they've gone very slow here, 5.5 lengths slow to the 600. Rob, you alluded to before, Trumbull just sort of jumped out a little bit better than what he has done previously and posied up just worse in midfield with a bit of cover, lovely spot. Just run us through the yard and then also what you didn't play.
Well, he's one of my favourite horses, Trumbull. And, bet fair. Please don't make me redundant. Really. Love you. And this horse has turned me into a winning punter over the last few years. So anyway, standout looks like the weight for age horse. It's been a good horse for me. Set him out on top. Just didn't want to cop him at the odds. Thought Deprive paraded like he usually does, a bit sort of stiff, carrying big condition. Prime candidate. Just continues to parade. Awesome. Signore Fox, unbelievably, always parades flashy. And if you didn't know he was Signore Fox, you'd think he's a bit better than he was. It's a lovely looking horse. Tactical advantage can certainly improve. But yeah, when Trumbull jumped, I really loved the wide position on the day, 3-4 wide, and you could still get double figures. So I was happy tapping away.
Outstanding work. Mark Shean, were you getting a little high-low nightmare flashbacks here with Deprive?
Yeah, well, they did pull up in the middle stages there. I think from about the 800 to about the 5, they seemed to really pull up. So that put Deprive right out of business. So I did my chocolates there. Yep. Too good Trumbull. He did have to sit wide, but as Rob said, that might have been a nice spot to be. Considering the pace of the race, he was able to just balance up and use that acceleration. Standout got into a bad spot, but I'm not sure that these are going to win anything major in the not too distant future.
Yeah, it does look like that, and I was exactly the same. Got completely and utterly bollocksed here backing Deprive. Mark Rhoden, are you following anything going out of the Sydney Stakes at all?
No, I'll just sort of let them turn up where they turn up. I agree. This isn't really race to be labelling horses out of. I was on Standout, who was unlucky. It wasn't really Nash's fault. He got stuck by BFW on Special Reward, who was over racing in the blinkers early. Then he just stuck the right indicator on, and Nash seemed to let him in. He said he didn't want to get his horse over racing as well, so that's fair enough. But he then ended up that one pair further back than he was going to be, and didn't get the had to wait for the run, and he was taking a lot of ground off the winner at the end. Probably should have won, but the winner's had a wide trip and gone very well as well. So you balance those two things out. No, with the exception of Deprive, who wasn't suited, they've sort of mostly done what they do. It's nothing to get excited about. And not the only ordinary $500,000 race on the card.
All right, race 7 was the Everest, $15 million mountain race. It was, in the end, they've gone very fast here for the class, 7 lengths faster, 600. Obviously, you had Eduardo stringing the field out with Nature Strip trailing, and really, Classique Legends has gone to a new career peak here. Monster performance, but as Mark Shean alluded to, that's the last we'll see of it in this country, which isn't really a surprise because I think the same ownership group had Southern Legend previously, so not a surprise that it's going to Hong Kong. Rob, run us through how they paraded in the yard.
Oh, all outstanding here. I, to my disgust, have put Libertini on top just because I thought she was pretty awful first up, and she looked like she'd improved a lot. And then from Classique Legend, described him as a dude. He's just walks around like an absolute Adonis, just laid back though. Bivouac, more of a wetty on type for me, but couldn't have been better for it. Guitra come on. What to make a Nature Strip, he looked fantastic as well. So yeah, they all look really great, and it was good to watch him walk around.
Mark Shean, what are you doing with a horse like Nature Strip? Do you just pin him for the rest of this prep and maybe reassess him when he comes back in the autumn?
Yeah, well, I said a few runs ago that I thought that he might just need a bit of cut out of the track personally. His wins in Sydney have all been with sting out of the ground, so I was a little bit concerned after that first up defeat, and luckily I haven't been backing him his last couple of starts. Look, he didn't get his own way here, but he was still beaten home by Hortbury on her and a couple of other those that were on speed. So, I'd probably give him another chance if he got a wet track, but I don't want to back him on the dry, particularly in Sydney anyway.
And what are you doing with this race in general? I mean, Classique Legends obviously off to Hong Kong. The rest of them.
Well, they'll probably head to Melbourne, some of these, won't they?
Yeah, I guess so.
What's the Daily Sprint, is it? Or they change the name all the time? I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it?
It becomes another Everest 2 weeks later or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Mark Rhoden, what was the market doing late with Libertini?
Yeah, it was very strong on it. I mean, she had gone really well first up. And obviously from what Rob said, it appeared that she'd come on from that. So if you are allowing actual improvement off that first up run, she had to be in the race. But looks like the reverse has been true. That was actually her ceiling, not a platform. And she's come back off it. She hasn't gone terrible. She's run okay, but she didn't go to the level she showed first up. Personally, I got the reverse happened with Classique Legend, and this is where I got the race wrong. I thought what might have been his ceiling was actually a platform, and he has gone to that whole new level, as you mentioned in your intro just then. Outstanding performance. Do feel for the Australian-based connections who've really developed him from a promising young horse into one of the best sprinters into Australia, into clearly the best sprinter in Australia now, and now off he goes. I know that was always the plan, but it's still disappointing for them, I suppose. It illustrates how well he's gone. I think that on my figures, horses like Bivouac, Guitra, Hortbury on her have all gone to their very best 1,200 metre form or very best round of turn form, and he's brained them. A couple of interesting run-ons were Santa Ana Lane. Maybe they try him over further now rather than going to the Darley with him, even though he obviously loves the straight. And Tofane, who I had something on and was actually on good terms with myself when I saw how hot the early speed was, she just couldn't keep up. So I think she's got to be looking for 1,400 at least now as well. But they've all put it. aside from the obvious, Classique Legend, they've all put in really solid sprinting performances here. They just found one who's gone stratospheric on the day.
I remember after he trialled at Hawkesbury, I think he trialled on a Monday, and I bumped into the foreman at Warwick Farm on the Wednesday, and I said to him, geez, that grey trial good on Monday. And he said, well, Karen went to Hawkesbury to ride one horse, and that was it. And he said he won't get off its back. That was before it had raced, and he was right, because he's an outstanding sprinter.
Yep. The Everest has been pretty good to Karen, hasn't it, over the last 4 years?
What's he won? 3 of the 4?
3 of the 4.
Oh, wow.
Like Rod Scurry, the rich get richer.
Oh, shut up. Shut up. Classique Legend, I stuck in my brain that kind of struggling win he had in the winter, and just couldn't get it out of my head.
That was pretty good, I thought, on the heavy.
I know, but he beat a Jungle Edge, and it was another one of
John O'Shea's.
Yeah, John O'Shea's horse, who's never won another race. Anyway, but yeah, I've had him in the numbers all prep, just haven't backed him, and get back hot speed too easy after the race. $4 was a gift, wasn't it?
Yep, that's all right, Rob. You won't have to worry about him anymore. He's off to more concrete pastures. Race 8, the Craven played over 2,000. Think It Over, Natoya, Vanagirl, Scarlet Dream, they were the first 4 across the line in what was an even run race. Rob, were you able to separate any of them on the day?
Oh, look, I thought Scarlet Dream had really improved, and I was getting a price. So, I didn't want to just spend too many units on the day. So we had a small play there, each way run 4th. So, look, Vanna Girl, I thought she looked the best first up. Natoya paraded well for her. But, yeah, Morton's Forks runs 5th. Moving on.
Yep. It's a bit like that. It's a little bit of a hollow race after the previous one. Mark Shean, anything for yourself out of the Craven plate there?
No, I think Think It Over's won a weight for age race, so I don't know how they're going to place him from here on in. He's going to be up against it. Natoya was an improved run. Vanagirl plodded away. No, it didn't really excite me before the race. The very short there, Star of the Sea, going to 2,000 for the first time on a dry deck, so that was the only saving grace out of the race. But I did my money on Vanagirl and laid Star of the Sea, so it was a cancel.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, it's a bit of a plain race, and anything for yourself going forward? Any run that you thought might have had some merit?
What about the big flashing light on Morton's Fork, Rob? That wasn't he hammering home at the end?
He's a good old boy. He's off-season horse, Saturday horse. He's a Saturday horse, and here he was plugging away in a way for age race.
I actually watched back on Friday the preview show we recorded on the Thursday, and this has saved me some money, because I heard myself say I'd marked Star of the Seas 220, and I thought, are you insane? And rethink my market and stayed out of the race. And geez, if I'd had a big bet on Star of the Seas, I would have been feeling very, very sick. So I'm glad I didn't.
I was on Think It Over with G-Boss. The first G-Boss winner in a while. I just couldn't copy it again.
It was over 60 days since he'd ridden a winner.
Yeah, it was in the numbers. Anyway, move on.
Feels every bit of 60 days as well. Race 9 was the St Ledger over 2,600. Big shout out to Shane Baker from Punting Form, who declared fun fact last start in Brisbane, and watched to his horror as the horses plugged along and faded. And here it is, just doing pretty much the exact same thing on a fast tempo, 3.5 lengths faster to class, and holding off Brim and Rocks, who for all money looked like he was going to loom and win, but he just stopped over the last 200. Rob, explain to me about Brim and Rocks.
He just runs second, doesn't he? Yeah. Especially when I'm on him. I think it got to about $1.70 in run, $1.30, but people didn't seem to trust it out there on Betfairland. I couldn't get off, but I kept tapping away. I thought he had the in the running line spot. Fun fact, should have covered. It was a horse we were on earlier in the prep. The horses on the inside I thought were disadvantaged, so I was just a bit sick. It didn't go past and win for some money.
Mark Shean, which of these is going to win Melbourne?
Look, I think She's Ideal was probably the best run in the race. I thought they did pull up a little bit just down the side there, and they jammed up from about the 900. I know that early speed was on there, but I think in that portion of the race they concertinaed a little bit, and I think that certainly played against She's Ideal. She had nothing to drag her into the race. Pars of Glory swallowed half of the Randwick soil, apparently, so he had an excuse, but at the time I was looking for a stretcher to lie down. Just another one of these head scratches, really. Fair dinkum. And men should be committed for betting in these races.
Yeah. What about Josh Parr getting away with another winner on
He's
a
an
good day?
outstanding on leaders, isn't he?
Yeah, very much so.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, you got any clarity for us out of this race?
I'll say if you were on Brim and Rocks, you've been stiff because he appears to have gone to his.
Oh God! Not when he got done in the Metro. The Metro run.
He's run into Fun Fact, and he's done this once or twice before. He did it last summer over 2,000 metres at Randwick. He just gets into a rhythm, and he did. It was a bit stop-start on Saturday, but he was rolling well before the turn in a nice rhythm again on Saturday. And that day back in, I think it was January, he won by a space, and he's just gone to that level again. He's just got really comfortable, got a nice lead, and just been able to hold off Brim and Rocks. You know, if Fun Fact has an off day, like he did in Brisbane last week, you win well. So, take the point about She's Ideal. She's probably got more upside than most of these, I'd say. And yes, Paths of Glory spied the clod. But other than that, just another ordinary $500,000 race on the day.
Exactly right. All right, we'll sum it up with a few horses to follow. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself.
Race 4, Eliza Bill, it should have won by about 3. I don't know what it was doing back there. It's led an 1100 at last start, outside the lead in a 1200 the previous start, and there it was back in the field and climbing over their backs. It should have won. And I think Testimonial out of the first, an outstanding type, and had a lot of improvement. Missed the start there, just ducked its head when the starter let them go and was out of play after that. It's done a good job to finish midfield, so it's certainly one to follow.
Rob, one out of the yard that you think might improve next start?
I think it has to be Eliza. We're on it. I think can certainly improve in condition. Going well.
And Mark Rhoden, one to follow for yourself.
Purple Sector. He's absolutely flying this prep. You could argue that he had a perfect run on Saturday, but any horse that can jump out, put himself in a position like that and travel like that is going to get the perfect run a hell of a lot of the time. And I think they can go to Melbourne and pick something off with him.
All right, sounds good. It's I wouldn't say it's a big week ahead. There's Kensington. There's the time-honoured Bondi, as we're calling it, the beach race. Mark Shean, what are you thinking going forward towards Saturday? It sort of looks a little bit of a letdown after the weekend.
Yeah, it wasn't a great meeting last year. I think Kubrick came back after running second last in the Guineas and winning the $1 million Bondi. So we'll see what we end up with this week. But anyway, they're on again and there's winners there to be found.
Exactly right. Mark Rhoden, you've got the grand final versus the Bondi. How much time are you going to be devoting to Randwick over what happens up there at the Gabba?
There's nothing I can do about what happens at the Gabba, so I think I'll spend more time on Randwick. I think it's very, very rude of you to say that it's underwhelming. You know, it could be Jet Propulsion versus Peltzer. This could be one of the races of the spring, and you're called underwhelming. That's very harsh of you, I think.
All right, Rob, you get the best of it. You get to go out there and enjoy it, and you'll have the grand final somewhere on some big screen somewhere, just floating along.
As usual.
Yeah.
It won't be Epsom Day, which is, weird. I watch like hundreds of game of footy a year, and then Epsom Day rolls around and it's grand final day, and I'm looking at horses. So I haven't watched the grand final in years. Can't wait for it. Peltzer.
Well, that was easy. Until then, we'll preview the Bondi on Thursday, and we'll try and make it more interesting than what I'm putting in. Making it seem. But
what about Melbourne? What about Melbourne? Like backing Sydney horses in Melbourne, shouldn't we be talking about that a bit more?
Yeah, I think that's very fair because they just seem to keep turning up and winning quite handsomely. And I mean, it just seems to happen every year, though, doesn't it?
Yep. It does. And when Betfair are offering zero commission on all those races down there, I think Sydney punters might be wise to look at Melbourne.
Is there any chance of Betfair ever offering zero commission on New South Wales racing?
0% chance.
Not well, Pete's there.
No.
Could there possibly be, a bit of concern at Druitt Street Monday morning, or is it just business as usual? We'll plough on. We'll tax the punters.
No, they like taxing, mate. They don't care about the punters. Just going to tax them so they can have $1 million races and do a bit of dick wagging.
I know. Oh, there it is. Well, we had these brilliant $500,000 races on. Obviously being sarcastic, but I don't think it can continue. If Melbourne pools continue to grow and grow and grow, then PVL's system becomes into question. He's not looking after the long-term interests of the game.
Well, they've got to do something to try and grow the wagering because certainly the way it's going. I mean, look, there was 1.8 million or just under 1.8 million matched on the Everest, but you can imagine what that could have been if there was zero commission on that race.
That was matched on race 2 at Caulfield.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, grow the game.
Exactly. Thank you all for joining me. I'll speak to Mark Shean and Mark Rhoden on Thursday. We'll preview the Bondi and maybe the AFL Grand Final.
And see you.